Hello, my name is Brian Hampshire. I'm here to tell you about a new book, A Home for Min Sue. Min Sue, also known as Benjamin Hampshire after we adopted him, wanted to share his story while he still had time. In the foreword of the book, a very famous author named Trisha Priebe wrote the foreword, and here it is for you to read today.
A Home for Min Sue, Putting Together the Pieces of My Life. By Kim, Min Sue, Benjamin D. Hampshire. Dear reader, you hold in your hands a book written by a young man with whom I share something profoundly personal in common. Min and I were both adopted. We are, by definition, the type of people politicians are discussing when they talk about quality of life. Born 1 decade and 2 continents apart, Min and I probably don't look like we have much in common. His early snacks involved kimchi, for example, and mine were made almost exclusively of peanut butter. Today, he's a single young man who enjoys jokes and trips, and I'm a frazzled, married mom who really just hopes I leave the house wearing matching shoes when I need to go somewhere. Yet we have far more in common than meets the eye. We were both born to unwed mothers in extraordinarily difficult circumstances, yet we were given the equally extraordinary privilege to live. And we are both so very grateful for it. With or without the permission of those who would challenge our quality of life, Min and I have lived our lives to the fullest. We have asked many of the same hard questions raised in this book, and we've come to many of the same stubbornly held conclusions. Here are a few things about which we wholeheartedly agree. God is good, even when the circumstances in our life aren't good. Life is good, even if we'd write the story differently than the one being written for us. Suffering doesn't come from difficult circumstances, it comes from our refusal to walk through difficult circumstances with the grace God generously provides. As you'll read in these precious pages, Min's path hasn't been an easy one. Not even close. Though he's been deeply loved and cherished by his family and those privileged enough to call him friend, he's faced more hurdles in 29 years than many will face in a lifetime. And it's quite possible his greatest challenges still lie ahead. So, when Min says he's glad he was adopted and that he's truly happy with the life he's living, that should mean something. It should certainly mean more than political debates or op-ed pieces written by journalists who can only imagine what it's like to be adopted. I was first introduced to Min in 2011, when my husband and I were adopting our oldest son from Thailand. In 2014, Min graciously sent us a gift the same week he had a port put in for his first round of chemo. This sums Min up in a single example. He's endlessly funny and curious and generous. Writing is hard work, even for those of us who love collecting words and phrases and arranging them on the page. Min did the hard work, of exploring the nooks and crannies of his past, of sitting with his thoughts, of quieting his doubts, of telling his story, of forgiving those who hurt him long ago, and of telling the truth. He did the excruciating work of fighting with the keyboard, walking away, and returning because his story should absolutely be told. Once I held this manuscript, I couldn't put it down. I'm convinced you'll love it, and love Min, as I do. But a warning. If you read this book, you run the risk of being changed for the better. And now, a message to Min. In the overwhelming mystery of God, He generously gave you and me the families we have. He also graciously extended this same welcome into His family through the gospel and the work of Jesus, providing us a place to belong in this life and the next. What a gift! Min, in the pages that follow, you wrote so simply and eloquently that everyone faces death. And, unfortunately, you're right. Also unfortunately, your understanding is not a distant kind of knowing, you know it up close and personal. I wish you didn't understand the reality of death like you do. But as you and I understand so well, not everyone like us gets to live. And certainly not many live as courageously as you have. In God's extravagant love, He put you on this planet and gave you a strong sense of purpose. I'm forever grateful. And now, we're all better for having your story in our hands to challenge, to encourage, and to inspire us. Also, to make us laugh. The fact that visiting Colonel Sanders' grave was on your bucket list made me laugh out loud. And, still, I want your story to end like a neat narrative arc should. I want you to live a long, healthy life filled with adventures and joy. I want you to make more friends and add more destinations to your bucket list. I want you to be healed from this cancer and to die only when you're a really old man with 2 or 3 other books written just like this one. I think you could write an amazing joke book. But no matter God's plan for your future, I know we agree that our hope is not in improved circumstances, but is in the constant, over-the-top, undeniable goodness of God. And Min, He's been so good to us. My greatest hope is that someone reading this book will consider welcoming a child into their home via adoption just as you and I were welcomed into ours. A home for another Min Soo. Could there be anything better? With love and gratitude, Trisha White Priebe.